Takanas Hashavin, we're learning in Yonei Teshuva. In the Koteret of Reb Tzadok, it says Takanas Hashavin, Likutei in Yonei Teshuva, L'shavei Fesha B'Yaakov. L'shavei Fesha B'Yaakov. I'm not yet sure why he starts off L'shavei Fesha B'Yaakov, but I think it will become clear. And what he brought us so far was that in Yoma Pevav Amud Aleph, there are 7 statements about Teshuva. Gedol Teshuva shemei b'Refuah lo'olam, Gedol Teshuva shemagas had kisei hakavod, 7. And the 7, Reb Tzadok explained, we talked about this last week, are not just random memros from different Amoraim saying like what they think about Teshuva. No, the editors of the Talmud Bavli, Ravina, Ravashi, Gedolei Ador. So what they were doing is we're making a sequence to Teshuva, meaning Teshuva goes through the 7 Sifir. It's too loud now. Maybe just Teshuva goes through 7 stages. We know about stages of Teshuva, but we don't think of it in terms of spheros. The 7 spheros that the Teshuva goes to. First one being Shemei V'Refuah L'Olam. We spoke about Shemei V'Refuah L'Olam is always a Mikan L'Haba. That's, I believe, a Chidush of Reb Tzadok, but it's Amos Pshat. In other words, whenever you talk about Refuah, we're talking about Mikan L'Haba. So the first meaning, it's not doing anything for my past. It's not changing my record. It's not changing my points. What it's doing is that Mikan L'Haba, I did Teshuva. So from here on into 4, I am a righteous person. I'm about Teshuva. Maybe Refuah L'Olam, as opposed to the other madregas, which Magas had Kisei HaKavod, for instance, which start to go back to the Sharish of my Neshama, all the way back to the Kisei HaKavod and the Sharish HaNeshama. That's already going back, maybe L'Mafrei, and we're going to have 7 madregas. But the first madrega is maybe Refuah L'Olam, and we're going to take the deep dive into that now. That Mikan L'Haba, I'm about Teshuva. Maybe it's tzaddik. Now the proof, let's just sit inside here for a second. If you look at, I don't know how your Tzur Sadaf is if you have a sefer, but he quotes here, Ayidei Hir Teshuva, talking about like, Ayidei, I don't know where, does anybody have a sefer? Here, right before in mine, it says a base. And right before that, there is one here if somebody wants. Ayidei hear her tshuva, by having hear her tshuva belibai, let's be medayik, that's all I did. And hear her tshuva belibai, like, wow, I really should change. That's what it means. I really should change. Hear her tshuva belibai. Time for me to get on track. Right? We all have these hear her tshuva.
Should change or change.
Whatever tshuva means. Ayidei hear tshuva belibai, I'm going to return. I feel like I should return. Whatever you're returning to, I want to return to the Beis Medrash, I want to return to keeping Shabbos, I want to return to whatever you're returning to, but Ayidei hear her tshuva belibai, nikra tekev tzadik gamur, he's already called a tzadik gamur. Tzadik gamur. So the very first madrega of tshuva, Shemei V'Refuah L'Olam, which is only Mikan L'Haba, so that's called already I'm a tzaddik gamur. What more do I want in life but to be a tzaddik gamur? Not tzaddik she'einu gamur. Tzaddik gamur. Like this is like the highest sal. Yedei hir tshuva belibai nikra tekev tzaddik gamur, and then he brings probably the most quoted Gemara regarding Teshuva, K'maisha Amru b'Kedushim Amtes Amud Beis. I want to point out to you that the Gemara is very, very quoted, and I will quote it one more time, but the whole Gemara is not quoted. The Gemara is a little bit thicker than what's always quoted. So the Gemara says like this, there's in Kedushin, Amtes Amud Aleph, Mars has a whole bunch of, a whole list of almanas, a whole list in Kedushin, Safta Kedushin, a whole list of things, almanas sha'ani Talmud Chacham. So let's just get the scenario here. Somebody's standing and they're proposing to a woman, marriage. Will you marry me? She says, I really wanted to marry a Talmud Chacham. And you're not a Talmud Chacham. So he says, no, I actually am a Talmud Chacham. Talmud Chacham. So the Gemara says, there's a couple of things he has to do. You have to learn some halachas. Once you learn some halachas, it's already a kedushin. Like there's the minimal, if you will, amount. It doesn't mean, says the Gemara, Keshimin ben Azai or Keshimin ben Zayma. We're not talking about you got to become ben Azai or ben Zayma. But you need to know how to answer questions. Otherwise, it's not. Person says, meaning she says to him, like, are you a chacham? I want to marry a chacham. I mean, presumably, you see, these days, the Kala knows how to farher. The chassan ask him all kinds of shaylas, and what bracha do I make on this? And if he gets it wrong, boom. And you want to know with the Bishabur and the Bir Alocha, like so. But those days they didn't know. So she says, "Listen, are you a chacham? Not a Talmud chacham. Are you a chacham?" So he says, "Yeah, actually, I'm a chacham. Kedushin is kedushin." So Zok the Gemara, "Hey, noimrim kechachma yavna." It doesn't mean you have to be kechachma yavna, Rabbi Yaacov Haber. Okay, nobody's expecting that. That can't be what she means. No, she doesn't mean, are you like Rabbi Akiva? Nobody's like Rabbi Akiva. Ella kol sheshaylo said dvar chachma b'chol makam v'oimra. There's like a minimum level of chacham, not Talmud chacham, chacham. Almanah shani gibor, etc. Then the Gemara says, Almanah shani tzadik. So, again, scenario. So he says, will you marry me? She says, you're a Rasha, I want to marry tzaddik. So he says, no, I'm a tzaddik. I'm a tzaddik. So she says, Almanah shani tzaddik, afilu Rasha gamur. What's a Rasha gamur? He killed somebody yesterday. Rasha gamur, the Ghana. Rasha gamur, whatever. Pick your aver. So afilu Rasha gamur mikudeshes. Why mikudeshes? The famous Gemara. Shamahir her b'tshuva b'daitoi. In my mind, this Rasha gamur might have thought about tshuva. So you see from this Gemara that if one has a hear her tshuva b'daitoi, so he's a tzaddik gamur. Tzaddik gamur. Just by thinking.
He didn't say he's a tzaddik, he said I'm a tzaddik.
I'm a nashani tzaddik. Afilu Rasha gamur. Correct. Mikudeshes. Even if he's a Rasha gamur, don't make any difference. Why? Shemahir b'tshuva b'daitoi. Now, the next Gemara is not as well quoted, and I want to say it. Almanah shani Rasha. So this is a cool case. In other words, he says, will you marry me? Harayat Mekudeshesli. And she says, I really want to marry a Rasha. Like, you're way too from for me. You're a tzaddik, not for me. He says, no, I'm a Rasha, I promise. I'm a Rasha. So, Almanah shani Rasha. Again, doesn't say Gomer. Read. Afilu tzaddik gamur. This is the Chavetz Chaim talking to you here, right? No, I'm a Rasha. I tell you, I'm a Rasha. Believe me, I'm a Rasha. So Mikudeshes, why? Shemahir dvar avodah zara b'libai. Maybe he's thinking about avodah zara. Maybe he's thinking it over. So, in other words, the way I'm understanding Balabatish, the Gemara, is that the woman, let's say she believes in avodah zara. She believes in Yashka or something like that, or the Buddha. So let's say she believes in it. You're a tzaddik, you have no kasher to what I'm believing in. So maybe Shemahir her believe by. Maybe he thought it. Shemahir Dvar Avodas Chacham Belibai. Very interesting, but I never noticed this, that here at Teshuva, he says B'daitai, and here Avodah Zarah is Belibai. Interesting. Shemahir Dvar Avodas Chacham, he takes it over, he starts thinking, maybe Buddha, yeah, maybe Buddha not, like, well, maybe this is Shitov, he starts giving all kinds of rationalizations. Let me finish. So in such a case, we say, well, maybe he's a Rasha. Maybe he just made himself into a Rasha by thinking over here Beliboy, interesting, Avodah Zarah, and therefore Mekudeshes. So this lady wants to make sure, we want to make sure it's a good Kedushin, like no, but she doesn't want any kind of a tzaddik. So he thinks over, can I deal with the Avodah Zarah? Can I not deal with the Avodah Zarah the way I understand the case? Maybe. Okay, so we'll have a little getchkin in our house, or what? My yesh already. So that makes him into a Rasha. And once he's a Rasha, so the Kedushin is a Kedushin, a Mekudesh. So it's a very interesting case, more interesting, I think, than the Tzaddik case. This is something that's going on, Beliboy. So, comes Reb Tzadok, and he says about this Gemara that Tzaddik, as Rabbi says, not a Tzaddik Gomer, but a Tzaddik, is enough, this case of Hirer Tshuva B'daito. That's what everybody learns from this Gemara. A Tzaddik is Hirer Tshuva B'dato. So Reb Tzadok says, so this is the case of Kol, that anybody who does Tshuva, Gedolah Tshuva, Shemevi Refuah La'olam. That's the case. The Mevi Refuah La'olam, it's a Mikan L'Haba D'Kedin. And Reb Tzadok, with a fantastic Kiddush, tells us that this guy is a tzaddik, this Mekadesh here, the Mekadesh Isha is a tzaddik, but he's a tzaddik Mikan L'Haba. He's not a tzaddik. In other words, like maybe you're a full oil. Just like you go to a doctor and he gives you antibiotics, he can heal you maybe, but he's not going to take away what was wrong to begin with. So, if you want to take away what the averas that you did, for that you have to do vidui, and you have to ask mechila from everybody you offended, and you have to do a full tshuva, like the Rambam tells us tshuva. But for it to be a tzaddik, which I would think is a really great thing, to be mevi refuah la'olam, or to put it in a simple term, to go mikan ulhaba, to go further, to go weiter. So for that, all you need is a hirer tshuva b'leiv. So a hirer tshuva b'leiv is maybe refuah la'olam, and but the chiddush that I'm learning from this is that this guy who's mekadesh and isha, enochanami, he hasn't uprooted all of his averis to begin with, but that he hasn't done. But I can become a tzaddik right now for you. I can become a tzaddik right now for you by being maharer b'tshuva mikan ulhaba. Just 1 second. Yeah, what do you want to say?
No, I didn't understand how if the kavanah is, or rather the t'nai is to become a rasha, that's moil, that's working, because the understanding for me is that where the kavanah is to do something good, then it's moil. But where it's to do something bad, it doesn't work by kavanah, it has to do work by the ma'aseh itself.
Not true. By Avodah Zarah, machshava ra mitzaref l'maaseh. He asks a good question. But we know that machshava toiva mitzaref l'maaseh. Machshava ra lo mitzaref l'maaseh. So that means if I want to do a mitzvah and I never get to doing that mitzvah, whatever happens, I can't do the mitzvah, I get stuck on the way, so Hashem considers it as if I did the mitzvah. Yasha ein kain, if I want to do an avera and I get stuck and I can't do the avera, the restaurant's closed, I just can't do the avera that I wanted to do. So machshava ra lo mitzaref l'maaseh chutz, except for the case of avodah zarah. Why except for the case of avodah zarah? Not because it's so bad. The case is except for the case of avodah zarah, because that the whole avera is the hero avera. The Yeshaimrim Gilui Arayis. I'm going to presume that this guy's being Mekadesh Isha doesn't have his mind on Gilui Arayis, but Avodah Zarah. So the Pashat Pshat in this Gemara is that it shows Dafka Avodah Zarah because that's the only case where Machshava Ra is Mitzaref L'maaseh, and whereas by the Toiv he says does tshuva. I'm a tzaddik. I'm a tshuva. So let's read the words inside Reb Tzadok. Al yedei hiro tshuva b'libay nikra tekev tzaddik gamor. He's immediately called tzaddik gamor. K'mashamar b'kiddushim emtesam abeis after lo yasa adayin kol tikunei tshuva. Gentlemen, you guys, you have to get books. Yeah, I'm not the entertainer with them again. After lo yasa adayin kol tikunei tshuva v'darkei hashavim shezachru kanmoinim. All the things you're going to find in the Rambam, in Rabbeinu Yoina, all the tikkunim of how to do tshuva, that's all talking about l'saken hakoidim, to be masakin that which I did. Oy vey, I did some aveira. What do I do about it? I've got this trait inside of me. Avol l'refuah. But if we are full the lahaba, humiyad, as far as that goes, humiyad naset tzaddik gamor v'nirpa mimumay, and it's very sensible, by the way, because what is a refuah? I feel better now. So at least mikan alaba, I've straightened out now. What's the foundational reason that I did the aveira, and what's the functional problem that I have? Like, okay, those are all good questions. I have my whole life to deal with it, but right now I want to know I'm okay. Am I okay going forward? And you ask the doctor, am I okay going forward? Yeah, you're okay. We healed you mikan alaba. Same thing is about tshuva. Hainu, rakhu the elamai. What's with this guy? Rakhu kibal mum. But he's still considered a Baal Mum. He's still flawed. Shemisrape Shemiksa Shmoy Allah. Fascinating. Because he's still a Baal Aveira. If you don't go back into the past, then he's still a Baal Aveira. He's an Oichel Chazir. Even though he's not going to do it anymore. Meaning, somebody will come by and say, you're the tzaddik over here. You used to eat, I saw you eating treif yesterday. So he said, that's before I got married. Now,
I'm sorry. The Rambam talks about
because he's talking about erasing the others. Whereas here, for this Gemara, we're not erasing any Averis. Beautiful pshat in the Gemara. Probably best pshat in the Gemara I've ever heard. A million people say pshat in this Gemara. Why is he a tzaddik? And the answer is because he's not a tzaddik. He's a tzaddik going forward, but he's not a tzaddik retroactively.
So I'm saying, but just to bring that, according to what the tzaddik is saying, you just say, I'm going to do tshuva, that's it. Right?
Hearer. But he doesn't say anything.
So, yeah.
Shama, hearer, but you.
So it's a totally, it's not even on top of
yeah. I mean, the truth of the matter is that a lot of Rishonim are always thinking about bettering their ways. They're just,
Just one more. Just one more.
Yeah, one more time. I think a lot of people, like a lot of people are, okay, I'll do tshuva, mañana. Like I do tshuva right now. I mean, I'm going to do tshuva, but I'll better my ways. It's like everything else in life. It's just like one more cookie. It's like everything else in life. But again, that's the dilma. Rak, and for that second, by the way, so you call the tzaddik, right? That's what I want to. Rak the nisrape ata v'hu. Now Reb Tzadok gives a bashul. So now we have two things that we have to talk about. V'hu, you want to understand what this means to be a tzaddik mikan l'abba, not a tzaddik l'mafreya. I'll give you an example. V'hu keger shemiskayer, like a ger. So, oh my gosh, is this offensive? V'hu keger shemiskayer. What's up with the ger shemiskayer? That af shehu kikatan shenoilad. We know ger is kikatan shenoilad. Mikan ulaba. That's only mikan ulaba. Mikol makom. But in any case, by ger, clearly, and he's going to explain more about this, ein nekar hakoidem legamri liyos ke'ezrach Yisrael. You see, I just want to point out that maybe this tape should not be published, but somebody after davening on Shabbos who I never saw. He said, I have a question. Why is the Torah says before that in last week's parsha that a ger tzaddik, is not achicha. So why isn't a ger achicha? What kind of thing is that? So I said, well, he's not achicha. He's a different thing. He's a ger. I said, he's also not Kezrach Yisrael. Now, I've got to admit, I was doing Kira for many, many years, and I retired from that to deal with tzaddikim. So I don't feel like I have to defend the Torah, because the Torah says that a ger is not achicha. So I need to come up I don't care. You're allowed to kill Amalek, even their fish. I don't feel like I have to defend the Torah. But okay, here's a guy asking, I guess, an honest question, or maybe he was a ger, or maybe his wife's a ger. I don't know the guy. But obviously, he was very offended by the fact that a ger is not achicha. So what's the emes? Is a ger achicha or not achicha? Well, so I said to him, listen, he doesn't come from Avram Avinu, necessarily. So he's not achicha. So he says, every ger came from Avram Avinu. Okay, Amaratz, it's not true. Light didn't come, Ammon and Moab didn't come from Avram Avinu. So he's probably getting mixed up that every ger, it says somewhere that their neshama stood at Har Sinai. Okay, comes from Avram Avinu. He's not achicha. We could be brothers in faith standing at Har Sinai, but have neshamas together. La achicha, it's not your brother. So it's the emes. He's not Ka'ezrach Yisrael. Now, Reb Tzadok is saying that's just the emes. So it's not, by the way, it's not like we discriminate in any way, except for a Kohen can't marry, you marry them and it's beautiful and it's wonderful, and one can argue that it's nicer, it's better. I mean, there's all kinds of things, but it's not Ka'ezrach Yisrael. It's not the same thing. Maybe it's better, but it's not the same thing as somebody who comes from Avram, Yitzchak, and Yaakov. It's not the same.
Why do you call that Avram?
We give them the rishus to because Avram was Magayer Gerim, we give them the rishus to say Ben Avram. Okay. And even on the Ksuva, we write Ben Avram Avinu, if it's a ger tzedek. If it's not a ger tzedek, but it's a kosher gerus, meaning they're not keeping mitzvahs, so then you write on the Ksuva, Moshe Pinchas Ben Avram. You don't write Avram Avinu. Avram Avinu is only that's because of the covenant of Avram Avinu. So it's a good question, but we allow, that's a certain allowance. He also says in Shemona Esrei, Elokeinu v'Elokei Avoseinu. So we allow them into the family. But Ka'ezrach Yisrael, that's clear in the Torah as different halachas, is not achicha. Do you agree?
It's this week's parsha, actually. What the Kuri?
Also.
He doesn't say.
Yeah, it doesn't say.
He doesn't say, okay.
He's not allowed to say it, yeah.
It's not allowed to say.
Yeah. That's what I mean. Yeah. What's it? Yeah.
I understand a few months ago, it's a tzaddik. If I understand, we're saying we have a person who made tzaddik in one category of his life, but not Russia in another category. Here, is this a whole status? Not like that?
Fascinating question. Important question. And what do you want to say, Dylan? Now, here's the thing. I want to try to define in the few minutes we have. What is a tzaddik? I'm always telling people to be tzaddikim, right? But what is a tzaddik? What's a tzaddik? It's not talking to somebody about who did teshuva in a way that he was ma'aker. So what does it mean to be a tzaddik? And I started to, right? What's the definition of a tzaddik? Simple question. We know it's a great thing. We go to them for brachas and everything. But
some people talk about the balance. Right? The scales are more zechuyos or more mitzvahs.
That's not what's going on here. So that's tzaddik gomer, as Ari pointed out. That's tzaddik gomer. What does it mean to? No, I say calling somebody a tzaddik. Yeah, what does it mean? That's all I'm asking. Very simple question.
We just finished. So what is the comparison to the ger?
Just like a ger doesn't erase their past, which we will talk about that in a minute. So too, this tzaddik didn't erase his past.
Tzaddik is somebody who is just.
You're just saying words. I mean, I'll tell you.
Tzaddik is someone who does tzaddik.
Okay, so if he gives tzedakah, he's a tzaddik.
so
If he paskin, he's a Supreme Court judge that happens to be honest, he's a tzaddik.
Does what's right.
So let's think together about this. I want to introduce something here, which I chmenas emes is this, as they say in yeshivas when they're not sure if it's emes. If you look, let's say in Chumash, the beginning of the Chumash, Bereshis, you find tzaddik that I can remember 3 times. You find Noach, he's tzaddik. You find, I don't know if it's a Chumash, but you find Yosef HaTzadik, Dafka. There's a Yaakov HaTzadik. Chumash? It's Chazal. Huh? After calls him tzaddik. Chumash don't say tzaddik. Right. But we know Yosef was a tzaddik. Of all the brothers, we don't find Abraham was a tzaddik, Yosef was a tzaddik, Yosef a tzaddik. And then we find, most importantly, I think, that the argument between Avraham Avinu and Hashem about whether the stone should be destroyed or not was all about whether there are tzaddikim, a sufficient amount of tzaddikim in the town. Like, so here's the diyun, like, I'm going to destroy it, I'm going to destroy that city. It's, just a bunch of Rishonim. And Avraham Avinu says maybe there's 50 tzaddikim there, maybe there's 40 tzaddikim there, maybe there's 10 tzaddikim there. And when there's not 10 tzaddikim there, so it seems to be like everybody's masking, so destroy the city. So it's not about, there's no Chassidim there, or there's no Teshuva there, there's no Chesed there. No, are there tzaddikim in the city, or are there not tzaddikim in the city? Also, like we say in the pasuk, "Ba'amech kulam tzaddikim." That's a big kiddush. We're all tzaddikim. Ba'amech kulam tzaddikim. So, here's what I think. That we're going with the spheros, yes? Chesed, Gvur, Tiferes, Netzach, Hod, Yesod, Malchus. Yosef is Yadua, that he was Midas HaYesod. I will explain this in a moment. And Midas HaYesod is Tzaddik, Yesod, Olam. So a Tzaddik is Midas HaYesod. Okay, so Yosef was a Tzaddik. And the people of the stone were not Tzaddik. And Noach was a Tzaddik. And maybe you'll think of other examples of who was a tzaddik, but you can test my theory here. That a tzaddik is not a tzaddik in Malchus, a tzaddik is a tzaddik in Midas HaYesod. What does it mean? A tzaddik is, what the spheres are, Ke'ilu, like imagine, like the ruchnius of the Shamayim being, including within us, as we explained last week, taking on more and more physical traits. Chesed, Gvura, Tiferes, Netzach, Hod, Yesod, you're almost there, Malchus, you're in. Meaning that Midas HaYesod is specifically not Midas HaMalchus. And what does that mean? That there is, I'm just going to say it, there is a potential for Malchus. Yosef was a tzaddik, and eventually maybe he achieved Malchus. But I'm not sure. But Malchus Yisrael, we don't have. There's a Mashiach ben Yosef, yes. But Malchus David HaMelech is Malchus. David HaMelech is Malchus. He did Averos. Can't argue with the fact he did Averos. How do I know? He did Teshuva. But he did Teshuva. Where should we learn Teshuva? Hilchos Teshuva. The Gemara says we have to give Hakar Satoiv to David HaMelech for doing a chet because he taught us how to do Teshuva. Beseder. But he achieved Malchus. What does Malchus mean? Malchus means when something goes from the completely esoteric through the theoretical, through some hakshama. You talked about the guy, tomorrow I'll start doing tshuva. that Malchus means that it's permeated the earth or it's permeated my body, my system, my neshama. Now that's me. Like the Rambam says, Ani ish acher ve'eni oisoi ha'ish achota. Whole new person. Malchus means that I have changed I've changed colors, I'm a different person. Very, very difficult to do, by the way. I don't see too many people that actually change, but you can do it. But the highest level of tshuva, if you will, is Midas HaMalchus, which this is the whole chapter of Reb Tzadok. The highest level of tshuva is Midas HaMalchus. So what's Midas HaYesod? Midas HaYesod means almost there. You have tremendous potential. You've got everything that it takes. Now permeate, digest, make it part of you. You see, like Yosef was a tzaddik, Midas HaYesod. Wasn't so pashut, like his life. Wasn't so pashut. Again, I don't want to get in trouble, but Chazal blame him in part for the whole fight with his brothers. Moitzi Diba. Chazal say he was a Masalsel Basarai. He was a tzaddik. And Midas HaYesod, by the way, is the Midas HaBris, which, I'm going to leave that to you for now. But what was Yosef? Midas HaYesod. He had everything it took for Malchus. By the way, Mashiach ben Yosef, Sheniske, or maybe we're Zoich already, is a potential for Midas HaMalchus for Mashiach ben David. You understand this? Meaning, let's say, some say that we're living in a tkufa of Mashiach ben Yosef. So it's not Malchus. There's a Malchus, it's not Malchus. There's a Mashiach, it's not Mashiach. It's a Talich. But what it is, clear, L'kula Alma, what it is, what Mashiach ben Yosef is a potential for permeation into the world. And then we can say, Ki L'cha Hashem HaMelucha, then we could say, Malach Ha'aretz Deya, then we could say, we can talk all about the actual change on the face of the earth, or even deeper. Lo Yisagoy El Goy Cherev. When you open the news and you see that there's, forget about what's going over here, but Ukraine just bombed Russia, or Russia just bombed Ukraine. So what happened to Lo Yisagoy El Goy Cherev? The answer is, Nachnish, it's not yet Mashiach, but we're really close. We're really close. It's just, it's clear to me that, I don't want to start getting political or emotional, but it's clear to me what's going on. And what's and the kibbutz galius against all seichel sometimes, and the miracles that Hashem is doing to protect us, and the chachma that He's permeated into our own people, like we're almost there, but almost is not there. Almost at the finish line is not there. Yesod is not Malchus. So here goes Noach. Noach. Ish tzaddik. Tobim haya b'dayroisa. You're a tzaddik, Noach, but you didn't really do it well. You weren't Mashiach his daira. You weren't. You were a tzaddik kazeh. Meaning Hashem saved the whole world because of Noach. Everybody's a ben Noach, so there's potential in you. So Noach ish tzaddik means that Noach was Midas HaYesod, just like Yosef.
Which means not everyone has potential.
Right. That's probably true. But so Noach was like Yosef, no? So here is the debate between Avraham Avinu and HaKadosh Baruch Hu legabe Stoim. Does the place have any potential or does it not? Hashem says no. But I'll humor you. What do you mean? They can't do tshuva? No, it has no the koach even to do tshuva. They don't stop destroy cities. Otherwise, there are many cities on the face of this earth that would have been destroyed a long time ago. But even Rome is not destroyed. But a lot of cities are not destroyed. But what HaKadosh Baruch Hu is arguing, that this city, Sodom, I'm going to destroy because there's nothing it's going to do to contribute to the permeation of the Shekhinah into this world, onto this earth. It has no potential at all. And Avraham Avinu says, well, you know, potential. Maybe there's 50 tzaddikim there. Tzaddikim. Maybe if there's tzaddikim there, then it can have some potential and it can grow. In other words, once you're a tzaddik, once there's a midas hayesod in stone, then it can turn into midas hamalchus, and then it'll be part of the malchus Hashem right here in Eretz Yisrael, and it'll be a beautiful thing. And it's Kegan Hashem Karetz Mitzrayim, right there on the Dead Sea, before it died. It was right there, and it was beautiful. Hashem says, okay, there's no 50 tzaddikim there. Maybe there's 40, maybe there's 30, maybe there's 10. If there's not, Kinirah, we learned from here, if there's not 10 tzaddikim b'toich ha'ir, what does it mean 10 tzaddikim? So 10 Reb Chaim Kanievskis, 10, like what does it mean? It means 10 people that have the potential, even the potential to be good. That's what a tzaddik is. A tzaddik is potential. So there's one. Get him out of here. There's one. But there isn't, you need 10, you need a million. Is there a million of people for the Shekhinah to be Shayra in this place? So, what we have here, again, as I said, I'm saying it, so take it or leave it. But what I think is that when the Gemara in Kedushin talks about that this fellow who says, I am a tzaddik, you can marry, my Kedushin is a good Kedushin, I promise you I am a tzaddik, that what does he mean to say? He means to say that I have the potential to be a great person and live with you together and have a holy house and we could do mitzvahs in our house. That's what I mean. And that's good. Maybe that's what he's thinking. So he did Averis, and he wasn't ma'akir, the Chatoim Mafrei, and he never got to the place that the Rambam talks about of Zdoinois Nasa Kaschuyos will love you because you have potential. So what is the pshat in a tzaddik? A tzaddik is the one who has potential to be great. In Kabbalistic terms, midas hayesod, that can easily flip into malchus. Agav, being in this like offensive mood here, you should know that there's a lot of midas hayesod because that's a place there where it can go either way. So there's a lot of midas hayesod which did not turn into being malchus; it turned into being a negative thing. The Reb Tzadok writes that, for instance, Shabsai Tzvi, he reached midas hayesod. Well, what that would mean is that he was a tzaddik. That's what that means. Yerav ben Nevat. Let's talk about Shabsai Tzvi because it's much more exciting. Means to say, and that's how he explains it, that what happened with Shabsai Tzvi is, right, so if he's midas hayesod, he could become Mashiach, Melech, Malchus.
You say reached it.
Yesod, reached down. Meaning reached into the earth enough that he was midas hayesod, like Yosef. Like Yosef. But then, Reb Tzadok explains he made a very, very bad choice to take the covet for himself.
Sure. Wow.
And being that he took the covet for himself, he messed up the whole thing. This is where Yesod becomes the anti-Malchus, because then it's all about me, it's not about Hashem altogether. And you can only make that choice, as Reb Tzadok, if you're holding by Midas HaYesod. Otherwise, it's not don't have any covet. Stam Adalgeya has no mashmois to your covet anyway. But here's a man that thousands and thousands of people, worshipped. We're sure there was Mashiach. They beat you up if you said he wasn't Mashiach. But he took the covet for himself and became the anti-Mashiach, if you will. It became the anti-Malchus. It sounds like a Christian term, but you know what I mean. Like he became a Russian. So talking about Christian terms, the Reb Tzadok goes on, V'chein haya b'Yeshu hanoitzri, imach shemoy v'zichrei, as he writes. Same thing as with Yeshu hanoitzri, imach shemoy v'zichrei. He says these words, Yeshu hanoitzri, imach shemoy v'zichrei. that he could have, he reached a madriga. That's mind-boggling. This is for a mature audience only. But he wasn't just down with putz. He reached down, as you said. I don't know what the right word is, but he permeated Chesed, Gvura, Tiferes, Netzach, Hod, Yesod, and then took the covenant for himself. Which, by the way, if you read through Havdal Aleph Havdalos, the New Testament, so often he takes for himself. Even I'm not giving a share in Christianity now, but so often you can read it. I've read it many times. So often you can read it and see where the zich gets involved. I'm speaking in Yiddish.
It also shows that in both cases, what could the potential? That's the potential.
Mama shows that, and Mama shows that how potential is a tzaddik. Potential is a tzaddik. Let's say, you're a machanech. So if you're a machanech, you can bring a person, udati, you can bring a person all the way to the place of tzaddik. And if you're a parent, you can bring your kid all the way to the place of tzaddik. That permeation of how I'm going to actually lead my life, what am I actually going to do with myself, how am I going to actually be, that's malchus within the person. That malchus is up to a person's, you can't do that to a kid because he has bechira chavshus. You do the chanach and all that, we can't. So let me just say one more thing, because I'm losing the contrast to this, the Gemara says that, let's say she says, Almanas, I only want to marry a Russia. Are you a Russia or not? So you say, I'll be a Russia for you. For you anyhow. I'll be a Russia. So we're chayshish that he became a Russia in a moment. Afal pishu tzadik. Gomer. Fil tzadik gomer. Tzadik gomer. Which we now understand maybe more of the distinction what that is. Why? Because Shema here dvar avodas kechavim b'libay. It seems to me that a Russia, at least in this context, is the opposite of a tzaddik. Like, the opposite of malchus is one thing, but a Russia, and I looked it up, I'm intimidated now because there's mekubalim in the room. But, just like there's the growth and good part of every one of the spheres, there's also the negative part, right? So the Russia is anti-midas hayesod. Meaning, that's why they're violating the things that they're violating. So, if you're looking at the levels, down, up, any way you want to look at it, so a tzaddik and a Russia, which are always juxtaposed, tzaddik in a Russia as opposed to a chassid in a Russia, or a tzaddik in a posheya, or whatever words you want to come up with, but a tzaddik in a Russia are always juxtaposed because zelu mazeh barakimas hashemayim haaretz, and they're exact opposites. So what does it mean then to be a Russia? What a Russia means that you have no potential at all. If a tzaddik is somebody who has potential but hasn't necessarily permeated or even activated it completely, it's mikan al. So a Russia also doesnn't deactivate all the good that you may have done. It was a tzaddik gomer. You did what you did. But what it does do is it takes away your potential for ever doing good, which is why Hashem destroyed stone. The potential is not there, which is why we destroy Amalek, because the potential is not there. Now here's the thing that we said, why does it give the example of Shemahir Dvar Avodas Kecham B'Libay? So I answered, good shot, that why does it say that? Because that's the only time where we say Machshava Ra Mitzaref L'Maaseh. Remember I said that? It's only by Avodah Zarah. But it could be, that's true, but it could be that it's even deeper than that. That this guy, what Chazal were saying over here was that once he gets involved with, like, okay, you do this aver, you do that aver, it's a horror type, whatever. But like once you get involved in avodah zarah, like once you get that into your head, like Shemahir Dvar Avodas Kechavim Belibai. So you've lost your potential. You're not a tzaddik. Maybe you can get it back. It doesn't mean you can't get it back. But Pasher Usham right now, as somebody who's Makadosh and Isha, he's not a tzaddik. He is a rasha. Why? Because he just pulled away, not necessarily his mitzvahs, because again, we're not going back Lamafreya necessarily, but Mikanul Abba, at this moment, you're a rasha, because at this moment you just ruined but you just blew it. Yeah.
So I'm just not having this level of Yesod / tzaddik. If somebody is a tzaddik, and we're saying that now that's the level where he can be makalkel and like go, I don't understand what does tzaddik mean if he's not tzaddik?
Means you have potential to be great.
Is tzaddik just potential to be great?
That's what I said.
You have to reach a madriga when you have the potential to fulfill it.
You disagree?
No, I'm just
because I'll tell you why you're having a hard time.
Tzaddik is like in everyone's mind. I'm sure is like tzaddik is the guy's already achieved.
Okay.
Okay,
no. This is exactly what I'm trying to bring out. That to us at tzaddik, you want to get a bracha.
Yeah.
You've achieved everything. And the answer is you may have achieved, by the way, everything. Maybe you achieved everything, but it hasn't become part of you. So Midas HaYesod is one step before Midas HaMalchus. So since it's one step before Midas HaMalchus, so you can't say, you could be a tzaddik, and here's, I believe the Gra says in Yeshayahu, why he says in Yeshayahu, I don't remember, but on the pasuk, I believe, of Tzaddik Hashem, b'chol drachav, v'chasid b'chol masav. Okay, what does it mean? Tzaddik Hashem b'chol drachav, v'chasid b'chol masav. So first of all, you see the two madrigas, even by Hashem. Tzaddik and chasid. Tzaddik is b'chol drachav, and Chassid is b'chol ma'asav. So, okay, Ari, speak it up.
So the tzaddik is for the path, is where you're headed. It's not necessarily where you're going.
Drachav.
The chassid is the guy who's already achieved the license.
Is this not beautiful? Tzaddik Hashem b'chol drachav, but derech means you're on your way. So derech means once you're home, you're not b'derech.
Did this lines up with the Ramchal?
Wait a minute, don't confuse me. You're way ahead of me. It's good. Like so, tzaddik. So you see a difference between a tzaddik. So what's the higher madriga than a tzaddik? A chassid. Why is a chassid? This is where the growth comes in. Why is a chassid b'chol ma'asav? It's intrinsic. It's intrinsic. A chassid is it's intrinsic into the person. What it means to say is that if. Like, look, all of us should wake up in the morning and say, let me try to be nice to my wife today, and you'll do it. Tzaddik. You knock on the door, or you don't knock on the door. You come into your house. You're going to be a pleasant person, not be medactic or get nervous or be bakas. Walk into the door, be a mensch. Tzaddik. The potential for greatness right here. What's a chassid? What's it like to be married to a chassid? I'm married to a chassid. What does it mean? It means you wake up that person in the middle of the night, and they're b'halom, and not to mention, I'm sorry you woke them up, and they say, "What can I do for you? Thank you for calling upon me." Meaning, a tzaddik is the potential, and a chassid is you're there so much so that it's like in your blood. Rabbi Salanter's famous mashal is that an av leben Like that's the way it is. A father and a son, that's the way it is. If there's a fire burning in the house, if there's a fire burning in the house, it doesn't think about it. He runs to his son's bedroom and grabs him, even if it's going to cause pain. And even, he says, if there's a big Talmud Chacham in the house in the room next door, you go with your kid. Why? Because that's not because that's the right thing to do, the wrong thing. Maybe the right thing to do is save the Talmud Chacham. I don't know. But the Metzias is that it's so ingrained within the person. That's a chassid. So we're saying two things about Hashem. Now, why would we say two things out of the scope of this shir? But tzaddik Hashem b'chol derachav, but the chassid, the derech is sitkus, the chassid is ma'aser. So therefore, let's just conclude. I wanted to get into the ger also because it's so telling. But what we conclude here is then what does go comes to Reb Tzadok, and he tells us. So what? Now that I've defined a tzaddik as the one who has the potential for malchus, complete permeation, so now we can understand what maybe refuah la'olam. Now we can understand that maybe refuah la'olam means that we're going mikan l'laban, we're not going l'mafreya. Like every refuah goes mikan l'laban, doesn't go l'mafreya. So to this, because once you go like. And the next chiddush that we're not talking about is fantastic, because it means to say that, let's say you did the whole right. So we're talking about what's the madreg, what's the difference about tshuva and a tzaddik, because a tzaddik doesn't go back l'mafreya. You're not undo. You are what you are. Good, I can count on you from here on in, but you don't go back l'mafreya. But Baal Tshuva, welcome Shabbat Tshuva Imdim. Oh no, I went back into my life. I did a cheshbon on nefesh. I did vidui. I have charot ala ovar and kabbalah ala osin. I've rechanged and rewired myself. Hard to be a Baal Tshuva, but we've seen Baal Tshuva, real Baal Tshuva that are not attached to their past or their affairs at all, and that person. Ad kedei kach can becomes doinois nasa k'schuyos ad kedei kach. So the whole chiluk here is if you're going mikan l'laban, you're going l'mafreya. So for this tzaddik, for this kedushin, it's madrega one of tshuva, gedola tshuva, shemevi refuah la'olam mikan l'laban. Okay, thank you very much. The what?
Gomer, tzaddik gomer.
Yeah. I don't know. It needs to be.
Maybe came from Australia?
Yeah.
I think it's tzaddik gomer. I think the Gemara says tzaddik gomer is in everything. Yeah. Like all aveiros, all mitzvahs, everything.
Potential in all
like potential in everything.
Not that he actualizes. It's not that he actualizes.
Right.
Saying it's not there.
Not yet. That's still midas hayasayim. Even tzaddik gomer. In other words, how much potential do you have? Complete potential or a little bit of potential? Tzaddik.
What's the connection between the chassid and midas hakesed?
The connection is that, like we say, a gemach chesed or dumia chesed. A chesed is not hatova. Like the correct word would be dumia toiva. So we're not talking about dumia toiva, which is do a good deed. But we're talking about a chesed means that like it comes straight out of my system. That's what a chesed is. That's why a lot of times I'll do a toiva, but I won't do a chesed. So a baal chesed, somebody who like their whole metzias is willing to change. Or changed in order for me to help another person. Very interesting. The Gemara says a thing like this. The Gemara says, "Ezehu chassid, hamischasedim koinai." Oshinu chazal. Ezehu chassid, hamischasid or zes shemischasedim koinai. So how do you do chesed with HaKadosh Baruch Hu? I'm called a chassid if I do chesed with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. How do you do chesed with HaKadosh Baruch Hu? So the answer is chesed is midas hamalchus. Meaning chesed means mischasedim koina means I'm completely levatel mayesh for the Messiah. So just like That's a chesed. Just like I do chesed with another person, it means I'm willing to take away from who I am and what I am and my covet and my money, whatever it might be. So that's doing a chesed with another person. If you're a Baal chesed, you've actually mastered it. Mischasedim koinai is, can I take away my whole yeshus in order to be, that's called a mischasedim koinai. So Ezu chesed, a mischasedim koinai. That's the taich. So Tzadik Hashem b'chol dracha, v'chesed b'chol masa.
Chesed is always bigger than tzaddik.
Yeah, which means it's Chassid Yisod Malchus, which means to say that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is, I don't even know what these words mean, I'm just saying words, seems that HaKadosh Baruch Chassid B'chol Ma'asav means on some level HaKadosh Baruch Hu is willing to give up himself in the tzimtzum for the world, which by the way is what tzimtzum is. That's what tzimtzum means. Somehow willing to, because look what's happening over here in the world. Like you're taking infinite and you're turning it into something finite. You're taking unlimited and turning something limited. So it's a chassid. Chassid b'chol dracha. Chassid b'chol ma'asav. So it needs further thought. Like what's ma'asav, what's dracha. But you said it good. One's potential, one's real. That's for sure.
That is defining tzaddik as potential. It sounds like there's something kind of pent it up inside him, but it's also called tzaddik as like a sinor. I mean, he's kind of transferring from A to B or paving the way. So
And that's potential.
but that's not meaning
That is potential.
that's
The whole thing is a pipe.
potential is sort of is not doing anything. Potential is you're waiting.
No, potential. No. Potential for what? You have potential to do something, but we're talking about potential for Malchus. If you don't have potential for Malchus, there's no point in life. Even if you did this good deed and that good deed, and you did Chesed and Gvur and Tiferes and Netzach, and you learned a lot of Torah, and you got all the way to your side, but if you don't bring it to Malchus, then you didn't do it. So we're talking about not any potential. It could be a potential to be a great person or an athlete or a scholar or whatever. But potential for Malchus is what saves stone, or would have saved stone.
If someone's on a derech, tzaddik is a derech.
It's all about derech until you get to Malchus.
But he's by derech. Like he's not. It's not like he's in the beginning of the derech and
Right.
he hasn't started yet. He has the potential.
Like Shapsai Tzvi.
Like
Shapsai Tzvi.
Leites Givaldi, he's mamish potential for Malchus.
Yeah.
He's not, I'm saying,
Mamash.
he's the guy himself. He's not a very good guy.
And it's a good example because he himself is only potential. The Matthias of potential, I guess. So light was, it's a shame, was a Matthias of Midas HaYesod, which is why Avraham Avinu saved him. Because he was an example of Midas HaYesod which didn't come to Malchus. Avraham Avinu, it's unclear to me whether he came to Malchus, but it was only Avram, Yitzchak, Yaakov. In other words, it repeats itself through the sphere. So it also leaded to Malchus. But what's meduik here is that Noach was tzaddik, Midas HaYesod. Yosef was tzaddik, Midas HaYesod.
No, the saying also the word.
Agav, I think, what is it? Yosef Gematria Tzion.
Tzaddik Yovan.
Tzaddik
Yovan.
Yeah. Gewaldig. Tzion, I'm just saying, like.
That's what it says by Ephraim Mashiach Tzidki. That's what I wanted to say. Mashiach ben Yosef is referred to as the tzaddik. Mashiach and David. That's why I said David is a chassid. David calls him
Shamra Nafshi Ki Chassid.
Mashiach ben David is a chassid. Mashiach ben Yosef is a tzaddik.
So where's Muhammad?
It's Tzemach. The Tzemach David. Tzemach is Mashiach.
In hell.
I'm saying they appear to be giving all their cover to Hashem, but yet on the other hand, they're all gaiva.
Navi Sheker. So what's a Navi Sheker?
So it's the same.
What's a Navi Sheker? It's a Shapsai Tzvi.
Well, so he has
Navi
potential. You see by Edo, the Navi that told him to come eat with him bread. And then Edo said, no, I can't, because I have a tzivah from the shluch not to eat with anybody. And then he ends up going with him. And then that guy, the Navi Habal, ends up with a real Nevuah, saying, now you're Chayav Misa. So I think, you see, he's like Mamish in that space. It could go either way.
Yeah. I think in general, a Navi Sheker it's let's say, hard to qualify. Not everybody who comes along and says, doomsday is coming, the sky is falling. We don't put him through the tests of show and ice. We don't put him through. First of all, he's got to know Kol HaTorah. Higher. If he says one thing that's Soish of the Torah, we're right away. So, we're talking about it's just like you have to be like Jewish to be a mamzer. You have to be a big man to be a Navi Sheker. But so if Reb Tzadok could come along and say Ki Yeshu Anoitz and Kishab Tzvi Yimach Shemay V'Zich, both of them Yimach Shemay V'Zich. So it's not like he likes them, but he's saying this is potential gone wrong. Yosef, we don't know that he was Masakin as Avar. How do you know Yosef was Masakin the Masalsa Basaroi or the Moitzi Dibal? He did a good thing. He was Mikan Alaba. We don't even see the Yosef. Talking about advocating for God with Balei Tshuva. So I was saying, I think it's a Meshach Chachma. L'maisa, you never find that the brothers of Yosef asked Yosef Mechila. L'maisa, you don't find it, and that's why you have a sort of Regei Malchus.
You never see that he says that I'm Michael. He didn't say the words I'm Michael.
No, this guy, complete not from guy, he said to me, brothers should ask Mechila, Yosef should ask Mechila. He points it deep on, he caused all machlok. I'm just saying, Chazal are not nice to Yosef on this. But he was Nishmar Yitzhahara, he Shomer Sabris. He had a lot of potential, and maybe, for all I know, he reached that potential.
He also did a Nastavarm. The whole Maisa that he does with them is
and we don't find anywhere that he was Masakin that Alvar, that I know of. We don't find that he was Masakin the Alvar. If he was Masakin the Alvar, the Hainu Malchus. So you see where we're at here? It means every tshuva me'ava, which is Doinos Nasik Schuyos, is because you've reached the Madrega Malchus. That's what it means. And once you reach the Madrega Malchus, there's no chiluk between Tov and Ra anymore. What's the difference between Tov and Ra? Everything is Hashem. Hashem al-Chodesh Shmoyah.
What was Yonasan ben Shaul missing? Was it just that David had to emerge, or was he missing something he couldn't get to Malchus?
I don't know. I don't know the answer, but
he was missing that his father didn't kill Amalek.
Yeah.
It's just that it was ben Shaul. That was it.
He grew up with Shaul. Shaul wasn't Malach, right? I mean, he reached Malchus and then
Shaul was Meshach and Yosef.
He reached the Malchus, but not the Malchus.
He had the potential, and it depended on him.